wanted to make a quick little video today talking about my favorite movie of all times and also mention a little bit about the poster that you kind of always see over my shoulder when I make those little videos at my desk. Jaws was released on June 20th, 1975. It became the highest grossing movie of all time, first movie ever to gross over $100 million. It went on to gross $260 million domestically, $470 million internationally. Adjusted for inflation, Jaws grossed $1.1 billion in today's money. Not too bad for a movie that had a budget of less than $10 million. This is an original 1975 Jaws poster. It is number 75 out of 155 of that print. Prior to the 1980s, movies would be released in 200, 300, maybe 400 theaters at a time. And they would just kind of play across the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast and West Coast back. A theater would play it for a month or two at a time. Send those film canisters to the next movie, and then that theater would play it for a month or 2 months at a time. Well, every time they would send out those film canisters, they had to send the posters as well. And all they would do, take the poster, fold it up, and send it off in an envelope. And that's where you get all these fold marks in there. You get all this wear and tear. Look at that wear and tear. And poster's been around since 1975. I still have all the original pinholes in all the corners from the theaters, pinning it up for now showing movies. So I love to see all those little details in there. It's great to see that. Jaws was Steven Spielberg's second feature film that he made. And he said, I want to make this out on the open ocean. And not knowing that the salt water would actually keep the shark from working. But he later admitted, with the shark not working, it actually made the movie better. Very frustrating at the time, of course, but they had to improvise. When they would have the shark in more scenes if they could have, but they couldn't do that because it wasn't working. So they improvised and did things to make the shark appear to be there. And it actually was scarier when the shark was not around. Take the opening scene where Chrissy Watkins goes swimming late at night. There she is out in the open ocean. She thinks everything's fine, and all of a sudden she gets thrashed around, back and forth, back and forth. Well, if the shark was working, it would have been in that scene. But Steven Spielberg, left it up to our imagination on what that shark was doing and how it was ripping her apart and stuff like that. And all you've got is her thrashing back and forth and screaming and stuff. It was way worse than anything that he could have filmed. So good things came from the shark not always working. I do feel that Jaws is a masterpiece from the way it was directed, acted, the writing, to the music. I think it was all fantastic. For the things that I just talked about, when the shark wasn't working, that Steven Spielberg had to improvise, the way he did that. The acting, the three leads in that movie, they didn't always get along in real life. And that came across on screen, where you would have two of the characters kind of bickering back and forth, Hooper and Quint, not always getting along. That's the way it was in real life. Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss not getting along and stuff. The writing was amazing because you had these incredibly tense scenes, but then you also had very funny scenes. And then you had scenes where Quint's talking about the USS Indianapolis. That's an amazing scene. The writing was fantastic. And then, come on, you've got the music. We all know the music, the two notes, the dun, 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 dun. I mean, as soon as you hear that, you know what that music is from, but it also makes us think about sharks. I'm 49 years old. I go swimming in Lake Michigan. I know it's fresh water. I know there's no sharks in there, but I still think about that. It's still playing in my head. I still get nervous. Heck, I could be in a pool and still think about Jaws and sharks and stuff like that. But anyways. So funny thing is that when John Williams played the music for Steven Spielberg for the first time and was just doing the two notes, Steven Spielberg thought he was joking around. Like, what, are you kidding me? That's it? That's the theme, is two notes? But the more he played it over and over and over again, Steven Spielberg got it. Like, okay, here's this unrelenting, unstoppable force coming at you, and you're in its environment, and it's going to get you, and how scary and primal it was. It was just absolutely amazing. I consider John Williams to be the greatest movie composer of all time, and I also think that Steven Spielberg is the greatest movie director of all time. Interesting thing on this poster here, if I can get that in there, maybe too intense for young children. Universal knew that they had a massive hit on their hands, and they wanted as many people to see it as possible. So they needed to make sure that they got a PG rating. Back in the 70s, they had G, PG, R, and X, no PG-13 at that time. So they made a few trims from the movie, cut out a few scenes, and said, we're going to put this on the posters, letting parents know, hey, this is just a little too intense than your normal PG movie. An interesting thing is that in 1984, Steven Spielberg directed another movie called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That movie came under a lot of fire from a lot of parents saying, wait a minute, this movie's way too intense for a regular PG movie. You got people getting their hearts pulled out of their chests and catching fire, and people falling off of cliffs, getting eaten by alligators and all the bugs, and eating monkey brains and stuff like that. So it was Steven Spielberg and a few other people that said, okay, we definitely need to do something now to have something between a PG and R-rated. So they came up with PG-13. So there you go. Way to go, Steven Spielberg. So one of the things that I try and watch Jaws at least once a year, and I keep telling myself, this summer I've got to do this, and I haven't done it yet, is to watch Jaws late at night. And hopefully somebody will want to do this with me. And then go swimming at like midnight after watching the movie. I think that would be incredibly scary to go and do that. Jaws has been a part of my life my whole life. You know, I've always loved this movie for as long as I can remember. And to watch the movie and then try and go swimming at midnight in Lake Michigan, I don't honestly know if I could do it, but I'd like to try it. So hopefully this will be the summer that I will actually do that. I didn't see Jaws in the theater when it was first released. Obviously, I was too young for that. So I watched it on VHS and TV. I wasn't. It wasn't until I was, I think, in my early 30s that I saw it up in Traverse City at Horizon Cinemas, and some of you out there were with me when I got to see that for the first time. So that's pretty cool there too. So that's a little bit about the movie. And a little bit about the poster. I absolutely love this poster. I bought it back in 1997, and at that time I was like, do I really want to spend all this money on this poster? But I'm glad that I did, because it's a little bit of history. It's a little bit of history about the movie, and it's a little bit of history about my favorite movie being a part of my life for as long as I can remember. So there you go. And just the poster itself, looking at that poster, it's so intense to see that. Like, that swimmer has no idea what's about to happen. And that poster tells you everything you need to know about the movie. Nowadays, movie posters are just the leads of the movies, the big bobbleheads of them, you know, like, big deal. This tells you everything you need to know, and it's so intense. And I think that would make a pretty cool tattoo as well. Something to think about. But anyways, there you go. A little bit about the movie, my favorite movie, why it's my favorite movie. I absolutely love it. It still holds up today. You know, and I'll take the practical effects in this movie over CGI movies nowadays, especially shark ones. There's a scene in Jaws that is so intense, it still gets me right now. It's a scene where Michael Brody, he's Chief Brody's oldest son, is out on his sailboat with some of his friends, and they're in the pond. They're having some issues getting the sail to go up on their boat. There's a guy in a rowboat behind them. And he's rowing over to them and saying, hey, you kids okay over there? You okay over there? And that's when the shark comes up and knocks that guy out of his boat. This causes the kids in the sailboat to fall out of the boat as well, out of their boat. This is an overhead shot. The guy's trying to get back into his rowboat. The shark comes up, you see the gray top part of the shark, and then it rolls over and you see the white underbelly of the shark. That shark bites down on him and he screams out in pain, and that's where his leg drops to the bottom of the lake. I'm telling you, that scene is so intense. It is so realistic. Watch that again and just see that shark come up. It's better than any CGI that's out there today. So yes, this movie does still hold up to me. Is every scene that's a shark in look real? No, but for 1975, I think they did an amazing job. And I never want them to go back and retouch it and add CGI to make it look better. I love it just the way that it is. So to me, Jaws is the perfect movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, go ahead and watch it. Summer's coming up. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to watching it and going swimming at night sometime soon. Heck, it's going to be June or July before I'm brave enough to go swimming in the water that late at night. But there you go. Anyways, have a great day.